If you play a lot of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, you're probably aware about the optional rule of feats. And if you know about feats, then you probably know about Lucky, the feat that lets you turn disadvantage into double advantage and costs you nothing. Let's talk about it. To bring those of you who do not know about feats up to speed, in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, when you level up at certain milestones for your character, instead of taking an ability score improvement, you can instead, if your Dungeon Master allows it, take a feat. Basically like a small ability that your character now gets. There are things like Sentinel, or Polearm Master, or Lucky, or other different things that will improve your character overall that do not count as ability score improvement. Some of them can improve one of your ability scores, but they usually will also tag along something extra that you can now do. Some feats require you to have certain prerequisites, like you have to be a halfling, or you have to be a dragonborn, or you have to be a certain subclass. Some feats, however, you can take completely for free once you reach that certain level. And feats vary wildly between how good and how resourceful they can be for your character versus how there's really no point to taking these feats whatsoever. So, what is Lucky? Well, let me show you. You have 3 luck points. Whenever you make an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, you can spend 1 of your 3 luck points to roll an additional 20 alongside your original roll. You can use this point of luck to roll this additional 20 after you've already made your roll, but before the outcome is revealed by the DM. After rolling your extra d20 from your luck point, you then choose which d20 you have rolled to use for the actual ability. So for example, if you need to make a strength check to move a boulder and you roll a 9, before the DM says whether the 9 fails or succeeds, you may spend 1 point of luck to roll an additional d20, and on that one, you roll a 17. You now, as the player, get to choose whether you use the 9 or the 17 for your strength roll. So already, Lucky is looking pretty amazing. You don't need any prerequisites to take it, you don't need to be a certain class or race, and you get 3 of them per long rest. You can turn any roll that you make into advantage. Any ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, you can now suddenly roll that with advantage. But it gets better. You can also spend a point of luck to roll an extra d20 when an attack is made against you. You then choose whether the attacker uses the d20 that they rolled or the d20 that you rolled to attack you. So now Lucky is looking really nice, isn't it? So already, just from looking at all of this, Lucky is looking like an amazing feat. It's absolutely incredible that you can get advantage on any of these rolls 3 times a day, and you can also basically give disadvantage to creatures that are attacking you 3 times a day for no cost. And there are 2 things about Lucky that then make it broken. First thing, Lucky doesn't require anything from you. It does not cost an action. It does not cost a reaction. It does not cost a bonus action. You just do it. That is absolutely incredible. It costs you nothing. 3 times a day, you can just decide to give yourself advantage or give a creature against you disadvantage without even using your reaction. That is incredible. But here's the second thing, and this is the part that actually makes Lucky a broken feat. Let's go over the wording of the first part of Lucky once again. When you make an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, before the outcome is determined, you can use a point of luck to roll an additional d20. You then choose which of the d20s rolled to use for the ability check, attack roll, or saving throw. This means that if you roll with disadvantage, you are rolling 2 dice. But if you use a point of luck, you add a 3rd dice into this equation. And as per the rules, as written, you then choose which of these 3 dice to use for your ability check. Do you understand what this means? This means that you've gone from a situation where you have disadvantage, where you'd have to pick the lowest of the 2 dice, but now with the Lucky feat, you now pick any of the 3 dice. You have double advantage. You can take any number of these 3 dice and use that for your ability check. So let's go into a situation, right? Your character is at the bottom of a mine shaft. There's a boulder falling down on them from above, and your DM says, roll a dexterity saving throw with disadvantage. So you pick up your 2 d20s and you roll them. You get a natural 1 and a 17. Because it's disadvantage, the natural 1 is your roll. But guess what? You got a point of luck. So you use 1 luck point and you add another d20 roll into there. even if that d20 that you roll is a 4, you now have a natural 1, a 17, and a 4. And because Lucky states that you choose which of the d20s rolled is your ability check, even though you rolled with disadvantage, you can take that 17 as your roll. You turn disadvantage into double advantage with Lucky. You're not just lucky, you're freaking God! You can turn a situation where you were at the lowest of low. There is no possible way for you to get out except for that tiny slim chance that your DM is giving you by saying that you can still roll for it with disadvantage, but you can still roll for it. As long as you got 1 point of luck, you can turn that disadvantage roll into double advantage. That is mind-blowing. And that is the reason that Lucky is banned by most DMs that I talk to online. Now, there are some DMs who change Lucky a little bit so they don't outright ban it from their players. Some DMs will just say if you're rolling with disadvantage and you use a luck point, you either use that luck point or the lowest of the 2 dice that was used from disadvantage, negating the ability to take double advantage from the point of luck. Or some DMs straight up just say that using a point of luck requires your reaction. And these tend to balance out Lucky a little bit, but there's really no way to balance Lucky perfectly because that takes away from the whole point of the feat. It's called Lucky. So players, when you're building your character and you reach a certain level milestone and you ask to take a feat and you want to take Lucky and your DM lets you, know the power you have, because sooner or later, your DM will realize the overwhelming power they have given you. And hopefully, if they're a good DM, they'll talk to you about it and maybe try and change it. Or if they're a really good DM, they'll just say, yep, that's fair. Have at her. That's how it's meant to be used. But hopefully, they're not a bad DM and they take it away from you after they realize the amount of power that you have. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and you want to check out more, I've got a video right here where I talked about changes I made to the Wild Magic Sorcerer subclass. And if you want to talk to me about more D&D related stuff or even just fantasy stuff in general, you can check me out on Twitch. I'm live usually 2 to 3 times a week. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, tell your friends. If you didn't, you tell me. Have yourself a good one, everybody. Skål!